So when you're putting in new objects, we'll start with new objects. When we're putting in new objects, we don't do it in rendered mode because it works really slowly. Instead, I'm just going to go to material mode. So you see it in basics, but it's just not as complex for it to do. And to put in new shapes, you click on create. And there's lots of shapes here. So if I wanted a cylinder, I'd click on cylinder. To move it around, you see these green, red and blue arrows. If I left click and drag them, I move them around. As easy as that. So that's putting in new objects. What we might want to do is make it bigger or smaller. So I'm going to scale it. Anyone like to guess what letter on the keyboard I would press to scale it? Yeah. Close, close. S, absolutely. S, if I click on S, and then you see I can move the mouse in and out, and it gets bigger or smaller. Brilliant. What might I want to do to rotate it? What letter for rotating? R, absolutely. But, it's 3D space. What way do I want to rotate it? What are the different axes in 3D space? What do we think? X, Y, and Z. So, if I press R and then press X, it rotates just on that one. Y, just on that one. Z, just on that one. And when I'm happy, I click the left mouse button. So I've managed to make a shape, make it bigger or smaller, and rotate it. So you see my trees upside down here. If I click on my wooden box and rotate it on the x-axis, it's a bit sideways, I can actually turn it around so it's the right way up and drag it into the right position. So you can rotate anything that's there. And then put materials on. One thing I will say is if I want to put material on here, so I go on, make a new material, and I'm going to choose principled. Don't worry about why, but you do. And then I click on this little dot to make an image texture. So this will be on the video, so you don't have to remember this. And let's pick a picture. So I will put my wood texture on. And it doesn't work. So whereas in the video I've skipped some stages, this is why. So I've got my cylinder selected. I press tab on the keyboard, which is this thing next to Q, and goes into something called edit mode. Now you don't want to mess around in edit mode because it will change the way the shape is put together. But if I then press U on the keyboard, I'm going to unwrap it. And I go back to object mode again by pressing tab again. And it's very small, but you can actually see the wood has actually started to put the texture on. So there's a lot of things there. Creating shapes, scaling and rotating them, unwrapping them, which is quite a high level skill. Okay, so there's a few things that you can do. You can move stuff around now, which will probably be a good idea, and go for it. Last thing I'd suggest is you don't have to actually click on the names up here to select them. If you right click on the monkey here, that selects it as well. Okay? So give some of those things a go. The video should be up in hopefully not too long.